Godzilla is attacking the DC universe. King Kong is on Skull Island, where the League of Shadows is trying to steal skeletons of creatures from there, and many more Titans are on the loose. Toyman found a way to bring these creatures to the DC universe, and while trying to save Shazam, Superman was blasted by Godzilla and is seemingly killed. This is Comicstorian, where I take your favorite comic books, turn them into audio drama so that you know what's going on and you know what to add to your collection. And today we're going to be covering Godzilla vs. King Kong vs. the Justice League, issue number 5. If you want to support us and keep this channel going, consider visiting us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, or just buying our hot sauce down below. Let's get into it. At the Justice League Watchtower, Lois Lane is looking into the view screen, begging Mercy for any info that she has on what Lex is trying to do with the Titans. He's looking for the Dreamstone. It went missing along with Toyman, and that's all I can tell you, Mercy tells her, but Lois needs more, pointing out that there is no way that Lex can control these creatures. Mercy, please. I've always protected you, and this is a bigger threat than anything we've ever seen. But Mercy stops, sighing to Lois. Is it true what they're saying about Superman? That he's dead? She asks, but Lois shakes her head, explaining that Superman is in fact badly wounded, but healing. Mercy explains that the monster that defeated Superman is known as Godzilla, and they have files from an organization known as a Monarch from the other Earth. I'll send what I have, but it's the best I can do. Lois thanks her, ending the call, and then she turns to find Kara staring at her cousin. Kara, I told Mercy Graves that Clark is not dead, but honestly, we can't tell. Is he? Lois asks, but Kara shakes her head. No, but he is dying, she admits. Meanwhile, deep beneath the ocean, the heroes watch as Atlantis' guardian, the KRAKEN, is launching into a battle against Godzilla and Tiamat. While Aquaman, Mera, and the Flash search for the beacon that has been drawing the Titans to the city, Wonder Woman and Green Lantern fight to protect the dome from cracking any further. Diana and Hal watch as Godzilla launches himself at Tiamat, knocking the creature towards the dome. Incoming! Diana shouts, and Hal nods, creating a giant net construct that catches the monster, allowing the KRAKEN to slam into Godzilla. But the fight continues, and the creatures once again slam into the dome. It's cracking! Diana shouts, but Hal is there, covering the city, trying to keep out all of the water in the ocean that would destroy it. Found it! Flash calls out as he super speed swims back over to the beacon. I'll draw them away. Go save your city, Flash tells to Aquaman and Mera as he disappears. But that's when Tiamat launches after the Flash, nearly biting him as she desperately tries to capture the beacon. But at that moment, the KRAKEN hits Godzilla again, beginning to drag the Titan into the depths of the trench that once housed it. Aquaman nods his approval and looks at Mera. Please lead the dome repairs. I'm going after them, Diana. I could use a hand, Arthur tells her. And the two heroes turn, swimming into the dark depths of the trench, following the massive creatures. Meanwhile, Green Arrow is still aboard the League of Assassins boat. He slips from beneath a tarp after thinking in his head everything that has gone on, and then he wonders if he said all of that out loud. He slips beneath the tarp that houses the Titan's skull, thinking about how he needs to figure out what the League is doing and stop them. All kinds of thoughts running through his head about plans, ideas, and what exactly has gone on. And that's when he pulls himself out from the tarp and he finds a large group of ninjas waiting for him. Wait, I didn't just say a bunch of stuff out loud, did I? The leader shakes his head and Ali leaps to his feet, launching into a fight. He fires arrows, he lashes out with fists and feet, but there are too many ninjas. This isn't gonna work. I can admit when I'm outnumbered, Ali says, firing an explosive arrow and using the momentum to launch himself off the boat and into the water. New plan! Get help! Ali thinks to himself as he watches the boat sail away in the distance. At this moment, some of the heroes are continuing their fights against the Titans, with Batman using his own plans and having gathered several allies to help him build something in Gotham. He looks over the files that Cyborg has sent him on Monarch and the rest of the Titans, with Vic voicing his concerns that no one can locate Shazam after what happened with Superman. Cyborg also points out that Supergirl has returned to Skull Island to hopefully gain Kong's support. Based on what's in those files, Kong is as close to a good guy as we're gonna find in the Titans, Cyborg admits. If we can make a 300-foot ally, I'm all for it, Batman agrees. And across the world, Supergirl has returned to Skull Island to find Grodd leading his gorilla followers to worship the mighty Kong. They kneel before him as Kong pounds his chest in response. He's not your god, and he won't be swayed by your primitive submission, Supergirl tells Grodd, but Grodd smiles at her, lifting his crown to his head now with a kryptonite horn fixed atop it. He reaches out with his mind, taking control of Supergirl, who turns, punching Kong in the head, knocking him to the ground. "Well done," Grodd says as Supergirl lands next to him, now under his complete control. Meanwhile, the Legion of Doom is still searching for Toyman, who's disappeared after watching Godzilla rise up out of the ocean in Metropolis. "If he's in Metropolis, I'll find him," Deathstroke says, but the Legion's arguments are interrupted by a new signal beacon for the Titans. "A new source is calling the monsters," Captain Cold says as he looks at the computers. "It's calling them back to Metropolis," Black Manta notes. Meanwhile, Batman has finally gotten through to Shazam on the comms. "Billy, take it from me. Punishing yourself for the bad things that happened doesn't help anyone," Batman tries to tell him. But Shazam shakes his head, explaining that he screwed up, that he is the one that got Superman killed. If the Legion of Doom hadn't started it, it wouldn't have happened. "I'm gonna make them pay," Shazam tells him, as Batman realizes that he has arrived at the Legion's headquarters, but Batman orders him to stay back, to merely observe the Legion and report what they're doing. "Kinda too late for that," Shazam says as he slams into the ground, landing amongst the Legion in their base. The villains all rush our hero, but Shazam seems to be holding his own, when suddenly Giganta's fist comes crashing down, slamming into both Shazam and Blockbuster, bringing them down. "Did Giganta just kill the Blockbuster?" Penguin asks from the sidelines. Beneath the ocean, though, Hal is struggling to hold back the ocean from Atlantis, with Mera asking him to hold out just a little longer, but Hal's light has already begun to fade. He apologizes as his constructs begin to weaken, and just as he is giving out, more constructs appear. "Sorry it took so long to squat up, Hal, but we got you," Jon Stewart says as he, Jessica Cruz, Guy Gardner, and Simon Baz all appear, their own willpower protecting the city. "We'll hold the dome together while your people do what they need to do," Jon says to Mera, who thanks him and then turns her attention back to the trench, where her husband disappeared with the monsters. Far below, Godzilla and the Kraken continue their battle. While the great Titan is distracted, Arthur has moved to place the Kraken's chains around its foot. He leaps away as the mighty Titan realizes that he is trapped again, sending off atomic blasts in anger. "Will it hold?" Diana questions as they swim away, and Arthur nods. "It's made of nth metal. It'll hold. Our biggest threat is off the table," Arthur says. Meanwhile, in one of his secret labs, Lex has finished the creation of his MechaGodzilla. He stands in the cockpit preparing to activate the massive creature. "How does it feel, Mr. Luthor?" Mercy asks over the comms, and Lex smiles. "Powerful," he whispers. But Mercy has a warning. "I count 4 Titans heading back our way. MechaGodzilla must have a beacon built into its system. We should locate and deactivate it." But Lex shakes his head. "No, let them come. They need to learn who the true Alpha is," Lex says as the MechaGodzilla rears up. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the world, Ra's al Ghul stands ready over a massive Lazarus pit, watching as his league prepares to drop the Titan's skull into the depths. The story is getting even more interesting, and if you want to know what happens next, make sure you like and subscribe, as we'll be covering it around the time that it comes out. This is Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time.